Hi there, I'm Sayat, student physical therapist, and in today's video, we will be learning how to check the range of motion of the proximal interphalangeal joint of the four lesser toes. Good morning, ma'am. I'm Sayat, and I will be your physical therapist for today. So before we begin, ma'am, I will be asking you a few questions. Is that okay with you?
Yes.
So first and foremost, what's our family name, Lennie, ma'am?
Sayat.
Full name?
Maria Lennie and Sayat.
Okay, very good. And our date of birth?
June 18, 1964.
Okay, very good.
Yes.
So ma'am, do you know why you're here today?
To check the range of motion.
Yes. So today, we're going to be checking your range of motion. So the reason why checking range of motion is important is because we want to know what extent you are able to perform a certain motion, whether it is within the normal range or if ever there is any form of limitation. So before we begin, ma'am, if you have any questions, please feel free to ask me since everything here will be strictly kept confidential between the two of us lang. And then this procedure actually involves me touching certain parts of your body. Would that be okay?
Yeah, it's okay.
Okay. So the instrument that I'm going to be using right now is called a goniometer. A goniometer is composed of a fulcrum, a stationary arm, and a distal arm. The fulcrum is basically the one that attaches these two arms together. The stationary arm is also known as your proximal arm. It's the one that doesn't move. Lastly, this one is your distal arm. Your distal arm is the one responsible for measuring your range of motion. So, okay, ra?
It's okay.
Okay, very good. We are ready to perform the procedure, ma'am. So what I want you to do first is to please lie on your back lang.
Okay.
There. Okay.
Okay.
And then, to protect your integrity and dignity, ma'am, we will be covering you with a drape lang.
Okay.
Okay. Just like that. Today, we will be first checking the range of motion of the proximal interphalangeal joint of the four lesser toes, flexion. What you want to do before putting the goniometer in the said areas, you must first stabilize the metatarsals as well as the proximal phalanx. This avoids the patient from performing inversion, eversion, dorsiflexion, as well as plantar flexion. So what you want to do is to make sure that only the proximal interphalangeal joint is the one moving. First, you must put the fulcrum, this one right here, on the dorsal midline of the proximal interphalangeal joint, which is right over here. So once you've done that, you can now align your stationary arm or your proximal arm to the dorsal midline of the proximal interphalangeal joint, just like this. Last but not the least, your distal arm should be aligned in the dorsal midline of the distal phalanx of the joint, just like this. Okay, ma'am, so what I want you to do now is to try and bend your toes going downwards. Okay. Very good. So as you can see in the goniometer, the measured range is at 0 degrees to 30 degrees, which is within the normal limits, because the normal limits for the proximal interphalangeal joint flexion is from 0 degrees to 35 degrees. Normal and feel for proximal interphalangeal joint flexion can either be soft and then eventually become firm. In order to perform extension, the patient simply goes back to their original position. So basically, extension is also from 35 degrees going back to 0 degrees. The normal end feel for extension is firm. Flexion and extension belongs in the sagittal plane with a coronal or frontal axis. Okay, ma'am, so now we have finished checking your range of motion. You may now please sit down. Okay, so ma'am, your range of motion for the proximal interphalangeal joint of the four lesser toes is between 0 degrees to 30 degrees, which is within the normal limits. Because the normal average range of the proximal interphalangeal joint flexion is from 0 degrees to 35 degrees.
Okay.
Okay, so thank you very much, ma'am, and I'll see you next time.
Welcome.